Holy f***ing we've got brand new leaked details for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker from Jedi Pax's. This just dropped, and it's blowing my mind. It's like the news, but for nerds. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel, and holy crap, this is huge news. The leaking gods have smiled on us. Guys, I don't even have a script for this. I have a script for a different video that I'm going to record after this and after I get this video up. But Jedi Pax's, the now infamous leaker of plot details for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, just gave us a new update, and it sheds some very interesting light on changes that happened to this film. Let's get a couple of things out of the way. First of all, spoiler warning, if you're not following the leaks, which at this point, like, I don't know, there's probably a few of you out there not following the leaks, not listening to rumors, get on out of here. Get on out of here, I said. Now, also, we should take this with a grain of salt, and at this point, my faith in leaks has kind of been shaken, to be completely honest with you, because although I've been a big proponent of what Paxis and Jason Ward and other people are reporting to actually be real, and I still believe that it's real, it would appear that there were at the very least multiple endings that they were trying. And if this new ending is real, if what Paxis is talking about here is real, this was really not on a lot of people's radars. It's really interesting. I think it's a much better ending than anything we've gotten prior, but it throws a lot of things into question. Like, I'm just confused at this point. Like, is it even possible that some of what Doomcock was talking about was real? Like, because this was not on anybody's radar, and it's pretty wild. Basically, like, this could be true, and if this is true, this is a much better ending, or this could be one of the, like, greatest trolls of all time. And honestly, if Paxis did this, he's gonna break a lot of hearts. If this last one here was fake, or if any of them were fake or whatever, at this point, I'm actually happy. Like, believe it or not, I'm happy that the leaks have been thrown into question, and now there's this new report, and it's so crazy because we get to go in a little bit less sure about what's going to happen and excited to see what's going to happen. But anyway, I'm rambling. This is just really freaking wild to me. So anyways, let's get into some of the changes in the newest update by Jedi Paxis, including the big change to the end of the film. And by the way, you can go read the full detailed outline of everything that supposedly is in this movie on Reddit. I'll try to remember to link it in at least the pinned comment or something so you can go check it out. Also important to note, this is a news source that contacted Paxis. Kind of gives me a little bit of pause here. I hope they're not trolling. But yeah, so the news source, he seems to have vetted this source. And this guy is definitely a fan, but not like a super fan like many of us. So, look, take it with a grain of salt. I'm really hoping that this is true because this sounds really dope. Now, one of the things that's really cool here is we get a little bit more context about Palpatine's plans, okay? Now, I've reported in some of the recent leaks that it looks as though Snoke was completely a puppet. We were going to see some, like, failed clones of him, and Palpatine will even say something to the effect of, like, I am Snoke or something like that. Like he said, I am the Senate or something like that. So, basically, he's been pulling the strings from the unknown regions for a long time. Now, the First Order and the old Imperial troops, which was this, like, the new Imperial Armada, the Sith fleet with the Sith troopers that Palpatine has, they're apparently going to join forces and become the Final Order. So the First Order becomes the Final Order, which is this big plan of Palpatine's. I actually like that. I think that's really freaking cool. General Pride also seems to be a very interesting character because he remembers serving under Palpatine. He served under Palpatine in the Empire, and it's going to be really cool to see what that character does and his strong allegiance to Palpatine, and as they find him, how this all sort of pulls together to kind of make a new empire, something, you know, more dangerous and dark than the First Order, which is great because the First Order has had a little bit of a problem in these movies as far as being as ruthless and as villainous as the old Empire. So Palpatine's plans explained a little bit more. General Pride having been someone that served under Palpatine in the Empire. The Final Order being something that combines the old Imperial forces from the contingency plan with the First Order. This idea that Palpatine had the whole thing planned, I like that a lot. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is some more context given to the relationship between Leia, Luke, and Rey. And Rey is obviously struggling a lot in this movie, which I think is great for the character. I have questions on whether or not this is a little too late into the trilogy to get a lot of fans to buy this, but I think they're doing the right beats, and I'm going to give it a chance. Now, when Rey grabs the Sith dagger in Kylo's quarters, which is stuff that was reported on before, she does have the vision of Dark Rey, okay? Now, what's really cool here is in these new leaks, it is implied that the Dark Rey and Rey actually have a fight, and woo, baby, I'm excited for that. And apparently Dark Rey totally owns regular Rey, and the idea is supposed to just kind of showcase that the dark side is essentially the way to like more power, that Rey could be even more powerful than she is if she would just go to the dark side. So the double-bladed lightsaber apparently traps the regular blue lightsaber that Rey has, and she's going to just be totally owned by Dark Rey. It's supposed to be very similar to the Luke's cave kind of thing, but in this version, Rey is going to be like totally owned by her dark side version. And apparently it is Leia, or it seems like it's Leia, that pulls her out of that vision. And so Leia will really have a big role in this movie. This is something we haven't talked a lot about, but Leia will have this big role in this film. She's obviously continuing to train Rey after Luke passed on. Luke started her training. Leia's going to continue the training. And really, you know, if Leia is powerful enough to pull Rey out of that dark side vision and help her at the end of the film along with Luke, I think that's really going to help out this whole surrogate Skywalker thing that we're inevitably headed towards. Admittedly, I'm still not the biggest fan of it, but these new leaks do give better context to that. Now, there will be a part in the film where Rey goes to Ahch-To, and that's where you see her with the ship that's on fire. She's like doesn't want to be a part of her path anymore. She doesn't want to be a Jedi anymore. She goes to Ahch-To to quit, just like Luke, and she even throws her lightsaber. And apparently there's a moment where Luke catches the lightsaber, and there's going to be a joke and a reference to what he did in The Last Jedi when he threw that lightsaber. Maybe a slight dig at Rian Johnson, but essentially it's just going to be Luke saying like, hey, you shouldn't throw a lightsaber. I imagine Rey will be like, you did, and Luke will be like, ha ha ha, I was having a bad day, or whatever, right? But the point is, it's going to be revealed that Luke and Leia both knew that Rey was a Palpatine. Now, this would obviously explain why Luke didn't exactly feel great about training Rey in The Last Jedi. It would explain why Leia sent Rey to Luke. And essentially, the idea here is the Skywalker twins, they knew that she was a Palpatine, but they chose, because it's a Jedi thing to do, they chose to try to train her anyway, to help her anyway, because she doesn't have to have the legacy of her grandfather, just like Ben doesn't have to have the legacy of his grandfather, just like Luke and Leia didn't have to have the legacy of their father. The sins of the father and the grandfather don't have to be the sins of the children and the grandchildren. And again, that's just sort of helping to serve the surrogate parent thing going on with Rey and the Skywalkers. Now, let's get into the really juicy stuff, man. And if this is true, the Reylos are going to lose their minds. Let me explain the new version of the end. Now, we've talked about this a lot. Kylo comes to Exegol to help Rey. Rey's going there to face down Palpatine. Palpatine's going to reveal that, it might already be revealed that she's the granddaughter of Palpatine, but he's essentially going to tempt her into being Empress Palpatine and taking over, right? That's pretty cool. But either way, Kylo Ren shows up to Exegol. He gets his butt handed to him by the Knights of Ren, but then Rey is going to teleport, or force bond teleport, Leia's saber. And so then Kylo Ren, which, by the way, this is the photo that I leaked on Reddit, and, whatever, that blew up. But this will lead to them both facing Palpatine. And of course, and we talked about this on the video yesterday, where I was going over Jason's scoop about the ending he heard about, which is different than this one, right? But essentially, what happens is they go to face him, and he siphons off their force power. This is very similar in all the different endings, okay? So it siphons off the force power of both of them. Now, in the version I talked about yesterday that Jason had reported, Kylo was going to use the healing power to rejuvenate Rey after the force siphon to sort of get her kick started, right? And then he was going to be yeeted off the cliff, right? Never to be seen again. Now, in the new version, according to this new Pax's report here, what happens is they get their force power siphoned off, and then Kylo is essentially yeeted off into the cliff, or yeeted off into the pit just right away, and Rey is left there alone. And Palpatine didn't kill her because he's trying to betray the Skywalkers for what they did to him on Endor, right? And he's like, Skywalkers, how about this? Bam! You're out, you know what I mean? And Rey is going to be left to stand against him. And this is where all the Jedi voices come in. You know, apparently Anakin's voice will be heard here. Mace Windu, possibly Ezra Bridger, possibly a lot of freaking Jedi voices disembodied, rejuvenate Rey. She's given power again. She gets the two sabers and uses the crossguard thing to deflect the lightning back into Palpatine. He explodes. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Apparently, in the new version, the whole thing will start to crumble. Exegol will start to fall apart. The cube maybe falls apart and stuff too. But apparently, in the new version, Rey is killed as well. Rey dies when she kills Palpatine, right? Okay, so that's pretty wild. And apparently, as everything's crumbling around, Ben Solo climbs out of the pit. And I want to stop for 1 second here. I want to talk about the rest of what goes on here too. But I need to give a big shout out to Girls with Sabers, who has continued to talk about this concept of coming out of the pit. It comes from a mythological story, and I can't think of it offhand, but Girls with Sabers has been talking about this, and this idea of like going down into the pit, and then the hero character crawls out of the pit, like crawls out of the pit of hell, to bring light back into the world, to be a hero. Okay, so shout out to Girls with Sabers. But anyway, check this out. What happens is he comes out, and then he rejuvenates Rey. He brings Rey back to life, giving his life to bring her back to life. And then apparently, in what is described as a total fan fiction moment, they actually do kiss, and then Kylo Ren dies. Now, let's talk about the ending real quick, and then I'm going to speculate and talk about what I like and don't like about all of this, okay? So apparently, according to the new leaks, when Rey is on Tatooine, she is not building a new lightsaber out of the components of the Skywalker sabers. She's burying the Skywalker sabers in the sands of Tatooine. And she apparently has a new saber that she builds herself that has a yellow blade. That's kind of cool because I'm a sucker for yellow blades. I really like yellow blades. So she does that. She is asked who she is by a local, and apparently she sees the Force ghosts of Leia and Luke off in the distance and refers to herself as Rey Skywalker, denoting that those are sort of her surrogate parents and she is now choosing to be a Skywalker, okay? So that's all of the new information. So what do I think? Well, honestly, this is a way better ending. This is a way better ending. I like it much more. I think Rey sacrificing herself to literally destroy Palpatine, that has so much more meaning. Oh my God, that has so much more meaning than her just taking Palpatine one-on-one. Like, if she takes him, but she dies, I'm good with that. That feels much better to me. And of course, there's the context of all the Force beings out there helping her, right? Particularly Anakin, if Anakin's voice is heard. That's really cool. So yeah, she's going to do that. I think that's way better. Kylo coming out of the pit, amazing. Amazing. That's much cooler, and it has a lot more mythological impact for this film and for the future of the movies. And him giving up his life force to bring her back to life, that is some real crazy stuff. Like, that is power that literally, as far as I know, no Jedi or Sith has ever really been able to do. I mean, you could potentially argue that Palpatine had that ability because he technically maybe brings himself back to life. I don't really know if that's really explained. But as far as we know, it's like Sheev says, man, the power to cheat death is a power only one has achieved. You know what I mean? Like, that was Plagueis' thing, right? So if through Force powers, Kylo Ren is able to bring Rey back to life, I think that's a hell of an ending for his arc. I think that sacrifice makes total sense. It does redeem him in a lot of different ways, and it also gives like nerds like myself a lot to speculate about. Like, is this the fact that Kylo is the prime Jedi with dark side and light side? Like, what's going on with Kylo exactly? It just gives us a jumping board for a lot of speculation and theories and mythological discussion. And let's talk about the kiss. Let's talk about the kiss. Now, obviously, all of the Reylos are going to just love that, right? So, you know, I'm happy for them. If this does indeed happen, and holy crap, for their sake, I hope this isn't just a big troll by Jedi Paxis. So I would warn you to kind of curb your enthusiasm if you're a big fan of it out there. But if this happens, good for them. I think that's cool. I was actually just thinking about this the other day because, look, the truth is the people that are super burnt on this trilogy, they're not coming back to this trilogy. Like, they're maybe they'll like episode 9, but I don't know if they're going to like the trilogy. And so if Lucasfilm was going to remove the Reylo of it all, because I really do think there was a lot to suggest that that was the direction they wanted it all to go in. And I was disappointed that they were maybe going to remove that from the film. And particularly if they were removing it from the film to appease these other fans that are crapping all over this trilogy. Like, honestly, and don't take this the wrong way, but fuck them. Like, if they're not in, fuck them. Like, my thing was, why are you going to upset all these people that have absolutely loved this trilogy and they really like the connection between Kylo Ren and Rey, and they want that to have an ending, but you're not going to do it because of all these fans that don't like what you're doing? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. So, look, I'm not saying you're right, wrong, or indifferent, but I think this would be much better. This would be a much better ending. And as far as the kiss itself, I'm a fan. I've liked the tension that they have. Now, you know, I wish Kylo got a little bit more than a kiss before he just died forever. But let's be real, he probably doesn't deserve it. He was a real douchebag for a lot of this trilogy. So I think it all plays. It all makes sense. And that's pretty much my thoughts about this new ending. But look, I'm sure you have some thoughts. The thing is, I'm sure that this kiss, this Reylo kiss, is going to like upset a lot of people, right? But I got to be honest, I'm just going to tell it the way I see it. You were going to be upset either way. You were probably one of those people that were going to be upset either way. So I don't think it matters, personally. But we'll see. I mean, maybe it comes down and people roast it and they hate the kiss. And maybe even the Reylos are like, it's not good enough or whatever. We'll see. But that's the leaks, guys. That's the new ending. And that's my opinion about why I like this stuff so much more. Jedi Paxis, you better not be trolling! And now let's shout out Terra Genesis. Indeed, Luke married Mara Jade in Legends or the Expanded Universe. So shout out to you, Terra Genesis, and I totally love that name. I see what you did there. And now let's check the nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know, what were the names of the two organizations that Han Solo owed money to in The Force Awakens? These were the two group of pirates that track him down on his big ship in The Force Awakens. But what were the name of those two groups that Han Solo owed money to? Answer that question in the comments section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.